All right. We are here. We are live. Let me make a post. So grateful and glad to be here. As always. So grateful and glad to be here. As always. So grateful and glad to be here. Turn my sound off. All right, I know my sound is working. Um, all right. We'll try and make this as expeditious as possible. It's really, really exciting to finally see the side of the divine feminine that we've been working with get some attention, get some traction, just be out there. This is really fantastic. And it's an opportunity to really direct people to remember their humanity. And I keep talking about that because I really believe that the reason we got in trouble before is because we forgot we were actual people. We forgot our humanity. And it really behooves us to not make the same mistakes again and to keep that at the forefront of our goals. So, Shalom. It's your girl Amonute Tayac of Piscataway, your friendly neighborhood human, Sophia Spiritualite, the AmaruKhan Miriyam, and we are just going to discuss a little bit about Diana and kind of go over some old information and try to do kind of like a wrap up, because it seems like we're definitely going in the direction of you know, getting into these records. And so, I've had a discussion with my old man, and I was like, hey, if we go down this route, it's going to be a lot different than the last year. What? Close the door. What? As long as I don't have to get it. Okay. We just ate dinner. Um, we Maybe I lose my train of thought. We I was telling my old man about what this kind of, work means, because, up until this point I've been doing work, but it's not the same as what would be to come. And the reason why we have to have a discussion about it is because it's going to affect us all, because something that I came up with or was brought to me is that you know in order for this channel to come up, and the divine feminine in general to come up, the masculine is going to have to be brought down. And this means that the divine masculines, the good ones, they're going to have to be supported by divine feminines, because they're not going to be able to do this on their own. And we have to also be okay with reaching back and helping people, meaning we're going to have to help people. There's no getting around it. There's no like, oh, we're going to pretend like, no, we're going to have to actually go in and help people who hate us, who love us, who we're going to have to reach back and help people. And that's why this test has been so hard, because they wanted to make sure that we would do it. Like, given the opportunity, are you going to help your enemy? That's kind of like where we're going. not just your enemy, but just in general. Are you going to help people who need your help, or are you going to run away from them? Now, one thing we have for sure learned is how to tell who's on the good side and who's on the bad side, who's on the naughty list and who's on the nice list. We've certainly learned how to do that, but at the same time, it's going to be like, if you don't help your enemy's not going to be able to make it. And that's a really, really difficult position to be in. This is all really, really difficult things that are coming. We have to be, shalom, shalom. We have to be committed to, helping, yes, helping each other. We have to be committed to that. And not just people who are like, that we like. We have to help people we don't like too. We have to help people who we know were wrong. When they come around and start getting onto the train to do the right things, we have to be like, okay, all right, they've got on the right track. Let's send them some encouragement. Let's lend them our energy, because really it's not even about the financial so much. It's about lending them our energy. See, right now we have control of our energy. When you have control of the records, nobody can take your energy. They can't take your energy because we have control of our records. And so because we have control of our records, we have control of our energy. And that means that we can't just keep our energy to us. They wanted to obviously make sure we wouldn't do that. What happened to the music? I'm sorry. I just realized I can't confuse nobody if I ain't got no music on. Not only do we have access to our energy, we can't be stingy with our energy either. We have to be willing and like serious about sharing our energy in the right places. Now, what does that look like? So, like I gave the example, I had was watching Q3's live stream, and I know he's demonetized, and so he said just ask people, oh, just send $1. So I sent him $1. That's all I had. And then, when I got another few dollars, I sent him another few dollars, you know what I mean? But think about that. Like, here I am, like, knowing I have, I don't have a safety net, a security background, or anything like that as far as I can see in the physical realm. And I'm still sewing into my brother because I can see he's on the right track. And then he gives us the connection with Diana. That's not by accident. That's not by coincidence. That's because I found value in what he was saying, and I knew that it was related to what we were doing on this channel, and I sold into him. That's kind of how it is. Like, when you see somebody who is on the right track, whether you agree 100% with every single thing or not, you have to sow into them, because our energy is very valuable and it's very powerful. And when we decide to lend our energy to people, they will be successful. There's no way to get around it. Especially if you are a record keeper. If you are the keeper of the records, you know who's going to be successful and you know who's not going to be successful. And so you're going to have to sow into people. And it's not just money, it's energy. Like, listening to people to see if they've, come around, listening to people, especially with this internet energy economy, deciding to go in and see, hey, is this person good? Is this person good? What is this person talking about? Are they on the right track? Or are they on the wrong track? Going in and praying for people. We have to, all the things that we used to do unconsciously, like, or on command rather, because they would command us to pray for them and we would pray. All those things that we did on command, we now have to do consciously. So the great unlearning and then the great relearning, because we used to give our energy out all the time. Every time we turned around, every time, shalom, shalom, every time we turned around, we gave our energy out. And so now we have to basically relearn how to do that, but from a position of righteousness and not from a position of wickedness. Like, they're just using and abusing us. Now it's like, oh, okay, we are the actual people who have the permission to do this. So we have to actually go in and give our energy to people. We can't be stingy with our energy. This whole thing is, was to make sure we wouldn't be stingy with our energy. Like, everybody is, if you listen to Sister Pat's live stream last night, which I listened to most of it, if you listen to the Hebrew Rose of Jericho, everybody's saying the same thing. We about to be double, triple, quadruple blessed. What are you going to do with that? And this is why we have to talk about Diana, because we have to maintain our humanity, and we can't build ourselves up so much that we don't build and sow into other people. We have to be balanced. And I'm not sure that, I don't think it's the easiest thing to do. Of course, you want to take care of yourself first and make sure you're squared away. But we know that we're protected. So let's talk about this pendulum for a minute. You know, I made these pendulums. I had no idea what they were for. I said that over and over again. I was like, I don't know what these pendulums are for. I have no idea what they do. I don't know, but I know, just hold on to it, and we'll figure out what it means when we get to it, when it's time. And so now it's pretty obvious that those are like gateway keys. And so we have the ability to use our pendulum to go into the Akashic records for, yes or no questions, but then, also to direct the energy, because I talked about this in August. You can use the pendulum to direct the energy frequencies to different places. So that means you can use them to do kind of distance healing or distance helping. So you could be watching somebody on the internet. Let's just say an example of how this works. You could be watching somebody. They seem like they have a hard time. You can decide, okay, I'm going to send them some love energy. Well, you can pull out your pendulum with the little thing, and I'm probably going to go into what the different colors mean and all that stuff, and send them the healing, send them some love frequency, so that they can balance out that the feeling of lack of love with the feeling of love, and they can come back to even. That's something that's totally possible, and that's not something you have to be on everywhere talking about and all that, but we have to be conscious creators of this reality, because we know for a fact that everybody has a purpose. See, the people who occupied this position before, this ties back into that dream that I shared, where I thought they were threatening me. The people who occupied this position before, they didn't know, they did the wrong thing about it. So let me dissect my dream a little bit in relation to this information. So you have, in my dream, you have these people, this older man trying to explain to my old man. They're trying to figure out this whole carpet thing, right? So the carpet is the records. That's why there was so many of them. I was like, oh my gosh. And it was ugly. Why are the records ugly? Because our past is ugly. Our history is ugly. This is not sunshine and lollipops and rainbows. It's ugly. It is ugly. We have an ugly history. That carpet was ugly. Like the ugliest stuff I had ever seen. I don't even like carpet in the first place, but it was ugly. And then what happened? The owner, the one who was really supposed to be in charge, that we were told, she came in, but she was flashy. She was Versace and whatever out. She was not humble in her appearance. She was very unhumble in her appearance. So she comes in, and she's like, okay, they hired him. Now they didn't even hire me. I was nowhere in this conversation at all. So again, you have the powers that were looking for a man to be in charge of this stuff. Now, mind you, the men are not supposed to be in charge of this stuff. That's not how it's supposed to work. It's supposed to be the women, but the only way to get to the women is through the men. It has to. It's a portal. You got to go through the man to get to the woman, which is kind of fair because you have to have some protection, and supposedly that is our protection out here in these streets. Our men, not just my man, but our men in general. They're supposed to be protecting us. Well, what happened next in my dream? This man was overwhelmed. As soon as he started working, instead of just, him working underneath the guy like the way that they told him, they put him in charge. Is that not what they did to our men? Did they not put them in charge of making these deals for us and all this stuff? They put the men in charge. It was never like that. It was always the women were in charge. We instructed the men what to do. And so these people with their backward system, they put the men in charge. Well, the men are not capable of handling all of this stuff. They can do their part. They are very, very important, but they're not capable of managing all the little minute stuff. So I look, so in the next part, I was looking at the office space that they had, which was weird, and it was nothing but receipts. Receipts, those are the records. Little pieces of the records were everywhere. And I was like, man, y'all gonna lose the contract. Why? Because you have to keep good records. These people did not have good records. It was all over the place. And who was, instead of that flashy older woman, now you have this young man, kind of like a brother figure, who was, way over his head. Like, way over his head. Like, he couldn't deal with all these people. And now, with this thought process, it reminds me of Yeshua. He's, not that he was over his head, but he was overwhelmed. All these people was coming to him to be healed. He's trying to, correct the record by correcting a way that the disciples and everybody else think. He's trying to, accomplish what he has to get accomplished, working with these different spirits, trying to make sure he tricks Satan, all this stuff. He's doing all of this stuff. It's totally overwhelming. He can't handle the records. He couldn't handle the records. Just like he didn't handle the money. That was Mary Magdalene that handled the money. So I volunteered to help. I showed up. I said, okay, I will help. And then instead of letting me just help, then they want to try to tie me to the desk and tie me to the energy of maintaining their power. And that's where we had a problem, because no, I'm not going to do that. I will come in here and I will help. That is appropriate for me to do. What's not appropriate for me to do is to commit my whole life and everything to this the way that you're doing it, because you're not running it in a way that I would run it. And that's basically why I was like, no, I got to wake up. I'm not committing to this, because I'm not going to, if I'm going to run it, I'm going to run it in righteousness. And this has wickedness written all over it. And that's what happened. That's what they did to Yeshua's 1,000 years of peace. They turned it into, a wickedness. They turned our brother into a wicked entity and had everybody praying and working with this wicked entity. That's crazy. He didn't even get a whole real 1,000 years of peace, because all of his soldiers were killing themselves, because you got Paul out there telling people they should die for the faith. So instead of them living so that they could maintain the peace, they're all dying all over the place. Then you got, us over here in the fourth station. Who even knows what we was really doing? Who knows what these people coming out the caves and all these, who knows what everybody was doing, but it's a bunch of chaos. Again, he's expecting to come here and be like, all right, I'll put this together. We're going to be ready to go. Oh, I'm going to send a comforter. I'm going to send my sister here to help you. Everything will be good. And that is not what happened at all. It turned into a total disaster. And this is why we have to maintain our humanity. Number one, we have to maintain that we want to live. We can't be so excited, so hurried to get off of this planet that we will take ourselves out, because then we can't keep the peace. The reason why there's no one to keep the records now is because you got your grandparents dying at 80. I mean, Methuselah was 900 years old. We have to live. Like the only way that this works is if we live. We can. This will not work if we die. I know that there are some people who believe that these ancestors, these spiritual leaders, are being taken out of here for good reasons, but I don't think they're for good reasons. Personally, myself, because the people who are living are the ones who are going to be able to actually get the work done. You have to live. Like this game doesn't work if you don't live. If you're not playing, if you're not on the battlefield, the game doesn't. There's no game to play. You have to live. And so that's why we have to be committed to our humanity. That's why it's important to know the angels in your chart and all this stuff. Once you start to see who's assigned to you, then you have a reason to live because you have all of these entities that you are holding space for so that they can get their work done. That's why we have to live. And when we end our contracts and we go off planet, we're no longer able to fulfill any of the destiny that we were supposed to. And I'm not saying it's bad that people are dying or anything like that, or I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying as record keepers, we have to be devoted to living. Yeah, we have to be devoted to living. We can't as soon as there's an opportunity to check out of here, check out. We have to fight to live because there's no way your great grandchildren are going to know what to do unless you teach them. Like I just found out, like just with the little video I made earlier about the whole settler thing. Well, to go along with that, there's a way that you have to sign your name. Well, they're not even teaching kids how to write cursive. So if you don't know how to write cursive, how are you going to sign your name the proper way? Someone has to teach you that. Well, you got to know how to write in cursive, and a lot of these kids they don't know how to write cursive. My kids do well. My oldest daughter knows how to write in cursive, and I know my youngest daughter is going to learn. But if you can't write in cursive, you just miss the whole boat. You know what I mean on signing your name. Like you just don't even have that skill. So it's so many things that we're going to have to teach, just in general, that we have to really be committed to staying here. So they wanted to see if we were really committed to staying. And me, I was like, from the very beginning, I was like, yeah, we can't help anybody. We can't change the future if we don't live to help them. That's 100% correct. 100%. So, like I've always been saying, I'm like, well, y'all can leave the planet if you want. I'm going to stay here because I want to make sure that things go okay. I don't want to just, okay, I'm tired of this. It's time for me to go. No, I've had enough incarnations that I want this to be my last one. Now, when I said that, I started saying that in like 2015. I was like, no, I'm not trying to come back to this place again. This is it. I don't want to come back. This is it. I did not know that meant like, no, I'm going to have to live a long time. I just assumed that I would just go and I would be gone. No, it's like, oh, okay, so I'm not going to come back because I'm actually going to have to stay here much longer than I anticipated. And I do believe that there are people who have been here a long time, but I don't think that they accepted the technology. So this, we have to teach the technology what to do. We have to accept the technology. And so I agree with that because there's no way that I can think of right now that we can live without using this different technology to do different things. And so we have to be willing to look for the newest stuff that will help us reach the goal of helping people. I mean, this is all about helping people ascend where they're supposed to go. We go into the Akashic records to help people understand who they are, where they came from, and where they're going. That's the whole point of it. Now, people will use this for control purposes, and that's why they don't have access the way that we do. I mean, they don't have the access that we do because they want to use it to control people. I'm not trying to shame anybody with the knowledge. I'm not trying to hurt anybody with the knowledge, but we just have to we have to help people the best way that we can. And that means that finding ways for people to be successful, even if they have challenges. Because, like I was saying to the sister earlier, I said, in the old days, I guess in Atlantis, if they saw that you had a challenging chart, they would probably just say, hey, what is a leper? Uh-oh. What is a leper? Is a leper a person who has a disease, or is it that they have a bad chart? Because there's some people's charts that are so very, very difficult that if they knew your chart was like that, you had nothing but bad luck attached to your chart, they would probably just cast you out like you were unclean, right? I mean, you could see how like this could have been playing out. This could be embedded into the Bible somehow. Because there are like people with really challenging charts, really challenging experiences. And what would they have done with those people if you have a group of people, back to my whole video on the Magi astrology, if you have a group of people and all they did was study astrology, and all of a sudden they come across people who have these terrible placements, what are they going to do with those people? Are they going to treat them like humans and say every human deserves life? Or are they going to cast them out and say, oh no, those are not our people because look at that chart. Our people don't have charts like that. Like, what are they going to do? We've read enough of the Bible to know that they probably going to say stuff like, hey, those ain't our people. Look at that chart. Yeah, they're kicking people, of course. Of course. I'm looking at the numbers go up and down and all kinds of crazy. They don't want people to think about this kind of stuff like this, really. But honestly, what would happen if you had a bad chart in the time of Atlantis based on, a group of people who believed that everything could be calculated and there was no humanity tied to that? What would you do with people? You would just say, hey, that's a bad egg right there. They have bad seed. What does bad seed really mean? I mean, ooh, this is a lot of really, really serious information. And so that's why I just wanted to, bring it to everybody. Like, are we ready to grow as a channel? Do we want to, get a little bit, give us some more time? Should I start talking about it, but not like going overboard? I mean, what do people think? Because we gotta get the information to the people. We have to get the information to the people. We got to get the information to the people. So what do we do? Do we jump in head first? Do we, try to get things kind of situated, make sure we have a good understanding? I don't think we're going to have that opportunity because Hugh commented on the video I made about Diana yesterday, and so we have the attention of the right ones, the ones who can help us jump forward. So I just wanted to get people's input, especially if you've got a reading from me. I believe we're ready to move into a more elevated position. I believe that we're ready. I also believe we don't have a choice. But it's still good to talk to everybody about it because this is a pretty difficult decision. So, like I was saying, my old man, I told him, we're going to have to be traveling and this kind of stuff. And seems pretty okay with it. I think that he kind of wish I would do it like private clubs, like put stuff on Patreon and stuff like that. But I don't think he understands that I don't want to gatekeep the information because that's a little bit of a people don't really think like that. They're just like, oh, you should make it so that you can protect yourself. But I don't want that to be seen as gatekeeping because we got this information freely and we want to give it freely. So I think that there will be a private club Another thing that I was thinking about is having like conferences, like I don't know if anybody has ever heard of Abraham Hicks, but she would have like conferences, and people would come, and she would channel, I've seen quite a few of them. People would channel, she would channel people's answers to people's questions. I actually know someone through my research team that her truck driver when she did all of these different, meetings all over the place. So, but that's still going to take, I can't do it by myself, and I'm not going to, I'm not going to just pick up a bunch of new people and be like, all right, let me talk to y'all how to do this stuff. No, it's going to have to be, y'all my day one people. I have to incorporate my day one people. How could I not do that? That would be ridiculous, to just, I'm just going to go and recruit a whole new group of people. Like, no, no. I know there's going to be a lot of people who come pretty good at judging people, especially after this year, but, we still have to incorporate people who I know, especially people who have had readings, especially people who have a heart for humanity. That's really what it is. And people can lie about. So another thing, just talking about that, I do believe that there's going to be a lot of the brothers that go through what we went through last year, this coming year. And for some people, that's going to be quite difficult. And so, not just the brothers, but a lot of people are going to go through what we went through last year. We actually got it early, which I'm like double, quadruple grateful for it, because I would much rather. Oh, thank you for your give and receive, sister. I didn't ask for no give and receives, but I appreciate it. I think that these people are getting ready to go through what we went through, and so we have to be really, really careful how we respond to people, because they're getting ready to go through it. It's the spiritual wise, and otherwise they're getting ready to go through it. It's the excrement is hitting the fan next year for a lot of people, and I don't want to. I want to be in position, position. I want to be in position to identify people who need help, especially spiritual help, which we can do, and it doesn't cost us anything to do spiritual help. I want to identify the people who need spiritual help so that we can get in position and actually help them. And That's why it's going to be important to be able to identify where people are. So I want to expand on that a little bit. I did a video the other day, a short video about the maiden, the mother, and the crone, the sister, the mother, and the grandmother. Well, that's a divine feminine trinity. So that would be the Trino Sophia, the Theotokos, and the Holy Spirit, right? That would be on the divine feminine trinity. Well, there's also the divine masculine trinity, which would be the father, the brother or the son, and the grandfather. Well, the grandfather is like the Most High, right? And then the father is kind of like Michael or Melchi. So then you have Melchi as Michael, and then the Holy Spirit as Zedek. That's how you have the Melchizedek come together. That's a whole nother thing. And then you have Yeshua, the brother. So so you can tell where somebody is based on how they describe the God that they worship. But what does that mean for us? What position are we in? Well, we're the middle child, because we're not part of this Trinity, and we're not part of this Trinity either. So we're in the middle. And if you are a middle child, or you know any middle children, they're always trying to balance the two sides. Like my sister, she's the middle child, always trying to balance the two sides. When you need peace, You go to the middle child normally, and they're able to resolve the both sides. Most of the time, they're the ones with the cool head. They're the ones who are able to negotiate the peace. They're the ones who are able to keep the balance. And that's basically what our position is. We're like the middle child. And that's a new position. I've never heard anyone talk about it like that. I've heard people talk about the Trinity. I've heard people talk about, so basically, when you look at the week is kind of like the way it's set up is kind of like the way we operate. So you have Melchi, or the father, that's the head of the first 4 days, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then you have Zedek, which is the head of the last 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So then you can understand how literally, we have a whole parallel society that's already here when you know how to process it. But if you don't know how to process these all of this different information, then it doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? And so I wanted to put that out there because I'm probably going to do a longer video on that, but I wanted to give that to people to start thinking about, like, okay, we're the middle child. What does that mean? How does that work? How does that work for us? Um, So I'm still taking input. If people have input, they can send me an email, share it somehow. You think we're just gonna jump into this head first? My old man says it's cool, so I'm cool to jump into it head first. But we wanna, it's gonna be all hands on deck. There's no way I'm doing this by myself. So this is a family affair, family first. So we want to make sure that we're aware of what's going on. And so, just to wrap this up, because we don't need to be here all night, back to this Diana thing, which is what I started at, and then I jumped all around, but we're going back to Diana. So Diana introduced us to the daughter, which basically brought to our understanding the four-part nature of God, the duality nature of God, right? So we knew about the three-part nature of God. We didn't know that there was a duality nature of God too. And so with that understanding and with that ability to contact that entity, um, that just puts us in a position, like I said, of being kind of in the middle of all of what's going on. Not just like, oh, we're not deliberately trying to make ourselves the middle of the universe, but somebody has to keep the records. And so that's kind of like where we dropped in. So it just makes me think that this whole story about Diana, and what I had originally said, which was, the way that they told the story couldn't be right, and that Diana had to be somewhere in the divine Trinity. It makes me think that in the divine Trinity, she sort of falls in line with the Theotokos, which is, think I said that before, but I'm pretty sure that's where she would fall in. That's the category she would fall in, kind of like in the mother position, which is cool. It's cool to understand that. I mean, all this information is like extremely highly esoteric, but it's backed by the Bible, so you could find it if you knew what you were looking for. That's why I always said the Bible is like it's a text that it's a multi-dimensional text. And once we understand how multi-dimensional we are, then we'll understand the Bible more. But if you don't understand that you're multi-dimensional, then you just miss the whole thing. So I think there's a lot of work for us to do. I do want people to be prepared for whatever changes come on this channel. And I'm counting on you all to chastise me if I get off track. Don't let me get off track all the way into the weeds and be like, dang, Sophia, she's all the way over in left field. Please don't let that happen. I am charging each one of you to keep me on track, because I know that it's very easy for someone to have this kind of power and or these abilities, these skills, these blessings, and go overboard. And so I'm counting on you all to hold me accountable more than anything else. I mean, the work is the work. I don't have a problem with the work. It's the accountability. Is having people who you are truly accountable to, living real people, not just spirits you're being accountable to, but literal actual people that you're accountable to. Because not that I think that I'm going to have anything like that. I'm not really that type of person, but still, it's good to have a guardrail on before you jump off the deep end. You're going to do a new beginning. You better at least have a rope tied so somebody can snatch you back if the beginning you're jumping into is actually the bottomless pit. We don't want that, you know. We want to do the right thing. So I'm counting on you all to keep me accountable, to hold me accountable. Don't let me go off in left field. Don't just say, oh no, she's gone off, I gotta, go to another channel. Please don't do that. I don't need that. I need y'all to say, hey, call, text, email, hey, you're going off into left field. You gotta bring it back in. You know what I mean? Like, keep me honest. I always ask for people to keep me honest because I think it's important to have people hold you accountable. I'm accountable to myself. I always try to keep myself honest, but I still, request it, and that's why I always ask for people to keep me accountable. Don't be afraid to ever call me out on the carpet, because if it's necessary, it's necessary. I don't care. I would much rather get it right and be corrected than yeah, thank you. Thank you. I would much rather get it right than get it wrong. And I know it's really easy. Sometimes you only get one chance to get it right. Sometimes you only get one chance to get it right. And I want to make sure that I get it right, which is why I put this video together. I decided I was going to do this live, put it out there, my thought process, my concerns, you know, how I think it's going to look. How do I think it's going to look? What I think is going to happen is that when people find out that they can get an actual reading that will that they can actually time their life to, meaning a lot of people do readings, they can't tell you timing. We're the only ones who got the timing. So when people find out they can get readings of their Akashic records, even to the timing for the past, present, and future, I do believe that that is going to spike interest in the channel, and that people will come over here. And I do believe that we'll be able to help a lot of people navigate the next year, because we will know the timing for different things. And so we'll be able to, unlike everyone else, really time how things, yeah, always need a backup. Always, me especially. I don't pretend to be anything other than a vessel trying to deliver a message, a channel. So being that we'll be able to time what's going on, unlike everybody else will be basically guessing, but we'll be right more than most other people. And so I think that will bring a huge interest to the channel, and that we'll start finding people that need help, and we'll have to start building a community to actually help these people. So I am planning on, like I said before, starting a tribe. Still kind of, it is time to step in It doesn't make it any less scary, and it's appropriate to approach this with trepidation because it is a very serious task that's ahead of us. But I do think we're prepared, especially after the last year. Good Lord, we're prepared, we're equipped. I do believe, like I said before, that we're ready. And I just want people to know that we are ready. And this Cancer full moon is going to put us back in the position. It's going to be a rapid rise, and I want, like I said, everybody to hold me accountable. I've seen a lot of these celebrities. I was involved with celebrities since I was like 20 something. I've seen a lot of these people. I mean it when I say hold me accountable. I truly mean it. I truly mean it because I've seen how these people act when they get a little bit of money, a little bit of fame, a little bit of popularity. I don't want to be that person. I'm not that person, but I need to make sure y'all hold me accountable because it's really, really easy to get distracted, especially when people start to act crazy, which they will. Especially the haters. I mean, I expect a lot of haters. Don't get it wrong. Except we have so much protection that I'm not. They can't even penetrate my auric field. Like the level of protection we have now is off the charts. If you haven't been able to tell, like the level of protection we have is off the charts. So we don't have to worry about anybody coming into, they can't matter of fact, I would suspect after this new moon not to have too many more dreams where people try to contract with you into your dream state because they had to do this before the energy of this Cancer new moon came in, because with them trying to settle or close the contract. See, now I understand something. I guess let me just a few more minutes. I was before this live, I was listening to Repo Man's video and it clicked in my head. It's been 50 years that they've been in that country, in that place, Professional Victims Unit. So every 50 years is a Jubilee year. This is their Jubilee year. This is when you recontract. The point of having a Jubilee year is for you to decide if you're going to recontract. That's the point. And so if they were unable to recontract with us between the new moon, basically, and the next new moon in July, new moon in Cancer, the new moon in Cancer, if they're unable to recontract with us in this year, they're not going to be able to get their contract back. That's why they went and started to settle in the West Bank at the time that they did. That was them reestablishing their contract. So, because actually I think it started at the Cancer full moon last year when we canceled the Willie Lynch letter. I think that's when the timer started. And if they're unable to contract with us again by this Cancer full moon that's coming up in a week, their time is up. They can't contract. They have no blessing. They have no nothing. That's what I actually think is. I didn't realize they had been there 50 years, but it's been 50 years. Their contract is up. Their literal lease is up on the land, plus their literal contract is up. You have to have a Jubilee year. The Jubilee year is almost over, and they haven't convinced us to recontract with them. As a matter of fact, we have adamantly decided that we are the settlers. We are the grantors. We are the settlers of the contract. They're not the settler. We are. Especially we who hold the records. For sure, we're the settlers on the account. We can settle everybody's account. They can't settle no accounts. They're not the settlers. We're the settlers. So now that that's been put in the ley lines, they have nobody, nowhere to turn. They have nowhere to turn because they never expected for us to know the proper terminology to remove them from the contract. See, because by establishing us as the settlers, and actually I'm assigning the Professional Victims Unit 1 and 2 as the trustee. They are the trustee. and the beneficiary is us. We are the beneficiary, but they're now the trustees. So now they're going to have to work to take care of us the way that we had to work to take care of them. That's what flipping the roles really means. It means no, no, no. We're the settlers. You're the trustees. We're going to tell you what to do, and you have to do it. And our contract is valid or acceptable to the Most High. He's the one who directed the contract to be done this way. So now they're the, oh man, this is really important. They're the trustees. They're our trustees, and we are in the position of settler. And there's nothing that they can do about that. We're assigning them as trustee. All you have to do is say it. To assign someone as a trustee, all you have to say, oh, I'm assigning you as trustee. That's what that whole recontracting is. It's it, the recontracting is for them to assign us as trustee. We're agreeing to be trustee. When you just sign all these papers, you don't know what you're doing. You're agreeing to be the trustee. That's what the recontracting is, to recontract you as the trustee, so that the grantor position is vacant and they can jump in and out the grantor position. Well, we're the grantors and we're signing them as a trustee. So, and they can't reject it. It doesn't work like that. All they can do is try to when their contract is up, try to recontract. Well, when is their contract up? Remember, you have a 7-year jubilee, and after seven-year jubilees, on the 50th year, you have a 50-year jubilee. So they'll have to wait 7 years to try to change their contract. And, whatever the Most High's will is will be done. I'm not worried about that. But right now, no, they're the trustee, effective immediately, and we're the settlers, effective immediately. No more discussion about it. We are the settlers. They are the trustee. And now they have to work to take care of us. Everything they have to do to cater to us. That is what is required. And we have a double portion because we're the grantor and the settler, and we're also the beneficiary. Nothing they can do about that. Perfectly legal. We can't be all three. You can't be the grantor, the trustee, and the I say trustee. Is it trustee? Is that the right word? Yeah, it's a trustee. The grantor, the trustee, and the beneficiary. It's a T word. Is it trustee? Look, I don't think I'm using the right word. Oh no. Hold on. I don't think is that the right terminology? This thing. Um Hold on. Hold on. I think it's a trustee. Yeah, it is a trustee. Yeah. Trustee or trust officer. Yeah, they're the trustees. Sorry. They're the trustee. I'm sorry. I had to make sure. Gotta make sure you're using the right terminology. We're the grantor settler. They're the trustee, and we're the beneficiary. They have to work for us. We have a double portion. They will get what we give them, which is why we don't want them to lose everything, but they have to, everything they do has to be in the benefit of us for our best interest from this point forward. And eventually we will come in and take over, all together. But as of right now, we have to learn all the stuff that they're doing. We don't even know. So We're the grantor settler, they're the trustee, the worker bees, and we're the beneficiary. That's it. That's all. So now everything is back in it's in its rightful order. They know how to do all this stuff. Let them continue to do it. However, they have to work in our benefit. Yep, we're the grantor settler. It's hold on, let me type it because it's a hard word. It's settler. We're the grantor settler. Just like they're the settler, Lers. You think of settlers as like those people who went out to the prairies and they, no. The settler is the person who settles the account. They just made, they changed the word so you wouldn't even know. Oh, no. So when they say that they're settling the West Bank, they're literally stealing the land and saying, oh, we're in charge of this land now. They're taking over as the person in charge. That's what a settler is. They're the person in charge. They're the person who tells everybody else what to do. So they're trying to take our position. This is why they keep getting in trouble, because they keep trying to take our position. We are the settler. They are the trustee, and we are the beneficiary. Uh-oh. I'm going to have to go. That's the order. That's the rightful position. These people, everything else about it is done and it's over. So, keep the channel in prayer, keep me in prayer. Let's move forward. Let's, get ready for these people who are going to come. Open our hearts and be gentle with the ones who are going to have to come, turn back and get it right. We want everybody to win. We don't want people to lose. We don't want people to suffer unnecessarily. And we don't want anybody to perish unnecessarily. So we have to act like it. If that's what we really want, we have to act like it. And I know people don't want to hear that, and it is what it is. We have to act like we want everyone to win, because it is possible to take everyone with us. I know they don't want that. A lot of people are very angry and they want to leave people behind. They had a whole book series called Left Behind. We don't have to leave anyone behind. It's going to take some people longer, then it's going to take others. We just have to be patient and willing to work with people as their hearts are changed. And I feel like with that as our strategy, we can be successful with helping as many people as possible. So I'm about to get overrun by toddlers. A toddler who's going to overrun this whole room. So I'm going to go, everyone. Please have a great evening. We do have a live call coming up. I think it's this week on Thursday for the Cancer New Moon. So I'll post the link to that in the community post. And then after Christmas, we're going to do the Pendulum Masterclass, and I scheduled the Tarot Masterclass. So we have a lot of great things coming up. Remember, Mercury retrograde goes until basically the 1st. Jupiter is in retrograde until the 30th of December. It's a lot of like squares and kind of difficult things between now and then. So please don't get into no arguments with no Negroes. Just be as happy and holly and jolly as you can. Don't walk away from the battlefield. Stay on the battlefield to fight, but just know that you are in the superior position. And as long as you remember you're in the superior position, it really doesn't matter what these people say. You can feel bad for them and just, Lord have mercy. You're gonna have to pay for that, but I don't have to dish out the punishment. Let the Most High punish you the way that He sees fit. So, shalom, everyone, and we will see you in the next video.